Section 1.5, Rewriting Equations and Formulas, Day 1. Couple key vocabulary terms. We have literal equation, which is an equation that has two or more variables. So if you look below in example 1a, you'll see that there's a y and a x, so two different variables. Formula. A formula shows how one variable is related to one or more other variables. So the directions in example 1 say, let's solve the literal equation 3y plus 4x equals 9 for y. What that means is they want to get y alone. So if we have 3y plus 4x is equal to 9, we need to get y by itself. So we're still going to follow the same rules, the order of operation backwards. So parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, addition and subtraction, going backwards. So if we look on the left side of the equation, is there anything being added or subtracted to the y? And the answer is yes, we have this term being added to the y term. So we're going to get rid of it by subtracting 4x on both sides. Now, what you need to understand is that on the right side, 9 and 4x are not like terms, so we cannot combine them. On the left, we still have 3y, and on the right, since they cannot be combined, we can just write 9 minus 4x or negative 4x plus 9. And in pre-algebra, you learned slope-intercept form, so that's why I like to keep the x term first. Okay, now we got the term that's being added to the other side. There's nothing being subtracted. The 3 is being multiplied, so we need to get rid of that 3. And the way we're going to do that is do the inverse operation, which is divide by 3. Every single term gets divided by 3. This is one way to write it so that you know that every term is getting divided. A lot of times you'll see it as 3y is equal to negative 4x plus 9, and they'll divide by 3 here, and they'll do a long division sign and just do 1, 3. Either of these is correct. So we have y is equal to negative 4/3 x plus 9 divided by 3 simplifies to 3. And y is alone, so that is your final answer. Next problem, example 2. Rewrite the literal equation for x. You're used to getting y alone, but this time we need to get x alone. So we have y is equal to 4x plus 5xz. So this time we have three different variables, as well as 3 terms. So here, if we get y equals, you might be confused because when you look at this, I have x here and I have x here. So how are we going to get x alone? The way you do this is, since both of the terms on the right side of the equation have x, we can factor that out. So 4x factor out an x leaves you with 4, plus if you have 5xz, if you factor out an x, you get 5z. Because you have to realize, if you distribute this, x times 4, you go back to 4x. X times 5z, you get 5xz. So we did the opposite of distribution. We factored out the x. Now we have y is equal to x times 4x plus 5z. This is in the parentheses, so it'll stick together. We need to get rid of that. Well, if it's being multiplied to x, we need to do the inverse operation and divide both sides by 4 plus 5z. And it may look silly, but that term is gone, and we have x alone on the right side. So we can write x is equal to y over 4 plus 5z. And that is the end of your answer, because y and 4 have nothing in common and y and 5z have nothing in common. I'd like you to pause the video and try on your own C and D. Please realize that the formatting didn't copy the problem for letter C. So you're solving to get the literal equation for y from 3y minus x is equal to 9. And then on letter D, you're solving the literal equation to get x alone. When you're done, unpause it and check your answer. Here are the answers for the on your own section. For letter C, you have y is equal to 1/3 x plus 3, or you could write it as y is equal to x over 3 plus 3, because when you have 1 times x, that's just x on top. For letter D, your solution is x is equal to m over 2x plus, 2 plus k. Example 3, rewriting a formula for surface area, which is on the next page. The formula for the surface area S of a rectangular prism is S is equal to 2LW plus 2LH plus 2WH. Solve the formula for length. So we want to get L alone. So if we look at this equation, we have L here and we have L here. So if we want to get rid of what's not attached, the first thing we want to look for is anything being added or subtracted. And this term is being added. So let's get rid of that term first. Let's subtract 2WH, since subtraction is the inverse of addition. Subtract 2WH. It's gone on the right side, and on the left side, since they're not like terms, we'll just rewrite them. S minus 2WH is equal to 2LW plus 2LH. Since L appears in both of these terms, we should factor it out. And then you're left with 2W plus 2H is equal to S minus 2WH. Since this term, or these terms in the parentheses, are being multiplied to L to get rid of them, we will divide. So we're going to divide both sides by 2W plus 2H. 2W plus 2H. And now we have L alone. So L is equal to the surface area minus 2WH, all divided by 2W plus 2H. And that is your final answer. On your own, solve for the area of a triangle for H. So the formula is A is equal to 1/2 base times height. Get H alone. When you have your answer, unpause and check your work. Here is the answer. H is equal to 2A divided by B. Now everything was being multiplied to H, the 1/2 and the B, but I did it in 2 steps because to get rid of 1/2, I multiplied by 2 first, so then you had 2A, and then B is being multiplied to H, so we divided by B to get H alone. Okay, last problem. Example 4, using a formula for area. You own a rectangular lot that is 500 feet deep. It has an area of 100,000 square feet. To pay for a new water system, you are assessed $5.50 per foot of lot frontage. So all we really need to figure out is how long this frontage is. So if you know that the area of a rectangle is equal to length times width, let's plug in what we know. We know that the area is 100,000 square feet. The length is going to be 500 feet, and we don't know the width. And the width is actually the frontage amount as well. So to get the width alone, we divide both sides by 500. So here the zeros cancel, and now we have 1,000 divided by 5. So your width would be 200 feet, which is the frontage. The last question asks, how much are you assessed for the new water system? Well, we know that it's $5.50 per foot of lot frontage. And since we have 200 feet of lot frontage, we're going to multiply that by $5.50. And here I'll bring down my 2 zeros, and then multiply 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 1, 2 times 5 is 10, plus the 1 is 11. We have 2 spots after the decimal, so we'll put our decimal 2 spots in. So the cost is going to be $1,100 for the new water system. And that concludes your notes for section 1-5, day 1.